Good morning. We begin our time together in song with We Are, written by Unitarian Universalist musician, writer extraordinaire, Issei Barnwell. You can sing along with the lovely sound of all of us singing this song together several weeks ago. Your microphones are muted, right? Make sure your microphones are muted, and then sing as energetically as you like. Here we go. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Gwinnett. My name is Jan Taddeo. It is my great pleasure and huge privilege to serve this faith as the minister of this congregation. It is such a joy to be together with you all, and I'm so glad that we have this time and this way to gather during these difficult times. We arrive from many places and many life experiences. As we gather to recall our true selves, reflect on the meaning of our lives, and explore questions of ultimacy together. If you are here for the first time or the 1,000th time, you are welcome here. If you believe in many gods, a god or goddess, no gods, or you're just not sure, you are welcome here. If you are gay, straight, bisexual, asexual, pansexual, transgender, cisgender, or still trying to figure it out, you are welcome here. If you're covered in tattoos or a blank canvas, you are welcome here. If you shout amen after each song or sentence, or if you prefer to sit with us quietly, you are welcome here. If you come here sober, addicted, or wherever you are on your healing journey, you are welcome here. If you are grieving, or if you are celebrating, you are welcome here. Your whole self, all that you were, all that you are, all that you long to be is welcome here, and you are just where you should be, in a room full of compassionate, thoughtful, Unitarian Universalists, ready to meet you where you are. You are home. And if you are a newcomer this morning, we welcome you and hope that you will find your spiritual home here with us. We are becoming a radically welcoming sanctuary in a green space. We foster spiritual growth as we joyfully nurture connections within our walls and beyond. If this is your first time here, I encourage you to join us several times virtually and in person when we are able to gather safely again together to experience the full flavor of this congregation and this faith tradition. We invite you to come and be curious, courageous, and compassionate with us. Welcome. And now I invite everyone to take a deep breath and bring your full self here, now, to this moment. And let it out slowly. As sound vibrates through us and around us, may we be reminded how deeply, profoundly interconnected, inextricably interconnected we are with one another, with all beings on this planet, with all of life, with all the stars in the cosmos. We are one. Pardon me. Bob Patrick and I thought we would like to do our opening words in two voices. And so here you will see us doing so. Our opening words are from Georgie Odell, "We Need One Another."
We need one another when we mourn and would be comforted.
We need one another when we are in trouble and afraid.
We need one another when we are in despair, in temptation, and need to be recalled to our best selves again.
We need one another when we would accomplish some great purpose and cannot do it alone.
We need one another in the hour of success, when we look for someone to share our triumphs.
We need one another in the hour of defeat, when with encouragement we might endure and stand again.
We need one another when we come to die, and would have gentle hands prepare us for the journey.
All our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us.
We light our chalice with these words by Eric A. Heller Wagner. Blessed is the fire that burns deep in the soul. It is the flame of the human spirit, touched into being by the mystery of life. It is the fire of reason, the fire of compassion, the fire of community, the fire of justice, the fire of faith. It is the fire of love burning deep in the human heart, the divine glow in every life. Well, Unitarian Universalists are very curious, and I'm sure some of you are very curious about what's inside this wonder box. Let's take a look. Oh, it's a furry creature. Glad my dog isn't here. She would try to eat this lovely rooster. Yep, that's a rooster. I understand this rooster has a very good friend known as the little purple hen. And I have a story to offer you written by Reverend Joanna Fontaine Crawford called The Little Purple Hen. And this is a revision of a long, long old story. See if you can tell how we've changed it. The little purple hen found a sack of wheat seed and rushed to tell her friends. "Look at all this seed I found," said the little purple hen. "Let's see if it is still good," said Pig. He examined it under a microscope, and he saw that most of the seeds were fresh and ready to be used. Cow offered, "You'll want some of my special fertilizer for that," and she hurried home to get some. "I love to plant," said the puppy, who was only 4 years old. I love to plant. Can I help you with that?" and Puppy and the little purple hen planted all the seeds that Pig examined and found fresh and added the fertilizer that Cow brought. Several weeks went by and the seeds began to grow. The little purple hen planned on using Saturday to do her weeding, and when she got outside that morning, she was shocked. There were no weeds. That must be some fertilizer, she said. And just then Farmer Joe wandered by and she said, Farmer Joe, all the weeds in my garden disappeared. And he laughed. Yep, they sure did. A cow and a pig and a puppy were over here yesterday and they pulled them all up. Of course, I'm a little bit of an expert on weeds, so I showed them what to pull up and what to leave. Oh, thank you, said Little Purple Hen. As the weeks went by, the sun ripened the wheat until it was ready to harvest. The Little Purple Hen got up early Saturday morning and went to her garden. There was Farmer Joe with his nice plow, and Cow, Pig, and Puppy, and someone else. This is my friend Cat, said Pig. We're here to help with the harvest. Nice to meet you, Cat, said Little Purple Hen. Ooh, I love a good harvest, purred the cat. As they worked together harvesting the wheat, they discussed getting the wheat ground into flour. You know, I have a brother-in-law who owns a granary, said Cat. She called him up and he said he'd be happy to let them use his grinding machine after hours. I'll take it over there, said Farmer Joe. Oh, we want to go with you, said all the friends. So they all went over to the granary, and while the machine worked, they ate pizza. Cat's brother-in-law joined them and said, you know, I have a friend who owns a bakery. He has big ovens. Maybe you could use them. Wow, said Little Purple Hen. I just planned on making one loaf of bread, but with all this grain we've harvested, and if we could use big ovens, we could make many loaves. A few days later, Little Purple Hen and Cow and Pig and Puppy and Farmer Joe and Cat's brother-in-law all met at the bakery of Cat's brother-in-law's friend, Horse. They mixed the dough and let it rise and baked it in the giant ovens. They kept doing this over and over. At the end of the day, they put the last loaves in the oven and counted all the loaves cooling on the counters. And with those in the ovens, we'll have 267 loaves, said Pig. They all looked at each other in amazement. Well, of course, we'll each have to take some of the bread, said Little Purple Hen, but there's so much. What will we do with it all? And Cow said, I know of a homeless shelter that would love fresh bread. And Puppy said, I know of a daycare program with kids that would love fresh bread. And Pig said, I know of a food pantry with giant freezers so they can freeze a lot of bread to eat later. So they shared all the bread, and each took home several loaves and felt very rich indeed and very proud of themselves for all they had accomplished. And the Little Purple Hen said, thank you.
Good morning. My name is Bob Patrick. It's good to be with you this morning. Recently, on our neighborhood's Facebook community page, someone posted a concern about delivery truck drivers driving too fast and erratically in the neighborhood. It's a legitimate concern anywhere. We live in a large suburban neighborhood with the full range of households, from the elderly to households with children and teenagers, and a few with multi-generational configurations of family, and lots of pets. Big trucks driving fast and swervy can be dangerous. Just this week, while leaving my own street, the nightmarish thing happened. Suddenly, a yellow ball came rolling out into the street in front of my car. Sure enough, a very little boy was on his way after it. It served to remind me one more time what the simple act of leaving my neighborhood can mean on any given day. This community chat turned quickly into, who can we call? How do we report them? Names and emails of large companies were suggested. I was thinking immediately about something that Lydia began doing at our house during Christmas, this past Christmas. On our front porch, she placed a cooler and a basket. She filled the cooler with all kinds of soft drinks and bottled water, and the basket with individual packets of crackers and bags of chips. She made a holiday sign inviting delivery people to take snacks and to know how much we appreciated their work. After the holidays and many wonderful conversations with delivery people over that time, we decided that this could be a year-round thing. The COVID-19 pandemic has meant that we order things online more than ever at our house. Delivery trucks are on our street, at our house, often. For example, did you know that you can order a bathtub online? I didn't know that until we did it, and this week the bathtub was delivered. I was outside showing the father-son delivery team where to put the bathtub in our garage when Lydia arrived at home. She said to the father of the two, "Did you get a snack?" And she pointed to the porch. He smiled and hesitated. "I saw that, but I thought it was a joke." No joke. He and his son got snacks and drinks, and we continued to talk together with them in our driveway for another 15 minutes. We now have a relationship with this man and his son, should they ever be back on our street. I suspect they will be. I'm spending a lot of time these days thinking about the kind of community I want and need in all sorts of places, not just my neighborhood. The truth is, most of us belong to multiple communities, at work, in our neighborhoods, here in our religious community, among people who share similar hobbies, crafts, and skills that we enjoy, around political organizations, community service projects. As we're seeing right now in our nation, communities are forming and reforming around equity and justice on a number of issues. The list can go on, but I'm wondering, in each of these places, what kind of a community do you want? If I can state what kind of community I want for myself, there's a very good chance that there's something in that which would benefit and serve you too. When you talk about the community you want, I begin to see myself in you. When you talk about the community you want, I begin to hear something of myself in your story. When you talk about the community you want, I begin to feel something of your grief, something of your aloneness, something of your pride and joy. What kind of a community do you want? There should be no doubt that we're living in a time, certainly in the United States, but also in the world, where human beings are more apt to draw lines as a way of being in the world. We draw lines between political parties and even within political parties. We say directly or indirectly, "Are you with us or them?" We say to those who have rattled us, "You've stepped across the line. I'm deleting you," or "I'm blocking you." We walk around with a boundary that we expected everyone to respect, but which we never made known until the offense was committed. "How dare you step across my line?" The drawing of a line has long been done with skin tones. The result of that line dividing lighter skinned people from darker skinned people has created quite literally a nation, if not a world, of trauma and trouble that spans nearly 500 years. We also draw lines between genders and gender identities, the right ones and the wrong ones. Recently, a transgender friend of mine shared painfully how she still walks around with a sense of shame because she's not on the right side of the line. We draw so many lines. Line drawing is simple and it's easy. Line drawing gives the drawer of the line the immediate sense of accomplishment, some sort of emotional safety, and often mental superiority. Never mind that it also too often simplistic, not accounting for the complexities that are always associated with being human and living in and creating and maintaining communities. The quick fix too often reduces the complex and beautiful to something it is not. I would like to stop drawing lines. and I get suckered into line drawing like everyone else. I need an alternative. The more I reflect on it, the more I'm convinced that we also have another kind of drawing that we use and have experience with, the circle. Drawing circles in human relations is, I think, also a natural thing. We sit around tables to eat. We gather around campfires to stay warm, to roast good things to eat, to tell stories. We create reading circles, both with little tiny children just learning to read and among ourselves, but we call them book clubs. Here in our own community, we create covenant groups and have even arranged our sanctuary into a form of a circle, like a chalice. My own experience is that inviting people into a circle results in finding that the combined experiences of those in the circle end up being far more like mine than not. They inform me. They help me see better, hear more, and feel more deeply. What goes around comes around and often comes through. I thought you were so different, but you and I are really alike. I keep returning to those classrooms of the youngest of children. Teachers likely put them in circles for a lot of reasons, but there's at least this. When children are sitting in a circle, it's really difficult to lose one. It's time, isn't it, to stop losing people? So, what kind of a community do you want? For the next 12 minutes or so, we're going to create small group chats here. Each group will have 6 Zoom households in it, or thereabouts. We invite you, once you are in your chat space, to go around quickly and introduce yourselves. Then identify a group note taker who will send a private chat to UU Gwinnett in Zoom to summarize your group's conversation. And here's the question we invite you to share with each other. What kind of a community are you looking for? What kind of a community are you looking for? We'll see you back here in 12 minutes.
Thank you all for your lovely reflections on what community is. So this was a new adventure, and so far nothing's gone wrong. So you all had really, really lovely, lovely ideas about community. Nature is a part of the everyday experience. Other members will take care of each other. People are comfortable talking about uncomfortable subjects. We express our appreciation to one another for everyday acts. People step up and volunteer, like in our story. During the story or right after the story, Doug Beers posted that it was a perfect story to describe how UUCG works. And I was thinking that when I chose it. People do step up to help. We don't live in neighborhoods, but we live in communities. Diverse people show up, a melting pot of racial, ethnic, age diversity. We speak up and support those who are doing good. A lot of good things here, and I'll post all of this in some way. We watch out for each other's safety. No family suffers for want. We accept each other for who we are. Community that's welcoming and safe. To work towards a more just society. Put up boundaries only if necessary. Do your homework. I'm sure that means do your homework about how to create a just society. How do you define dangerous folks? That's an interesting question. We'll save that for a future sermon maybe. Community, more room for LGBT, more people of color at UUCG. Bring people along instead of keeping them at a distance. Someone who says, I'm privileged and I feel the tension. It's not enough to just invite other people. The invitation has to be authentic. And white people needn't be afraid of people of color. True. A gift economy, less fear, dropping pretenses, curiosity, generosity of time to listen and ask and be sensitive, have real, open, and honest conversations, committed to doing our personal work. Words expressed in one group included inclusive, beloved, free of stigma, interdependence, supportive, loving without condition, a place for ceremonies. Another group wants to make connections with each other in positive ways, believes in the worth and dignity of everyone, is connected to and respects the natural world, willing to listen to different opinions from others. And so it's just a lovely, sustainable community. Thank you for those conversations. I also saw a lot of comments that people were really grateful for the conversation. I think I could sum up my desire for community as compassionate community. I want a world where people really truly care for one another and understand that the human condition involves suffering and that we all experience that and we can all work to alleviate that. I want a world where children and the elderly and people with mental health issues and developmental disorders and physical limitations and everyone who has some quality of vulnerability is taken care of, and that could be any one of us at any time, that we need the support of community. I want a community where people work together to make sure that everyone is fed, like our animals in the story, that they've shared the bounty of their crop. And I want a community that has health care for everybody. I especially would like a community where people don't shoot each other. It kind of seems like a basic shouldn't have to be said thing. So I just want to take a pause here to lift up the tragedy that happened in Atlanta this weekend. Rayshard Brooks, black man shot and killed by Atlanta police. Tragic situation. I light this candle for Rayshard Brooks, for his children, his family, for all who knew and loved him, who are grieving his absence. Thank you. Our congregation has many covenants, and it's our covenants that help us to look at how do we grow the kind of community that we want to grow? How do we grow the compassionate community we long to be a part of and to create? And now I'm speaking more to this religious community rather than all the other ways that we gather in community, which Bob so eloquently shared and named. In religious community, we have covenants. We have 4 covenants in this congregation. Lots of words. We have them: leadership covenant, congregational covenant, ministerial covenant, a staff covenant. Core to all 4 of these is trust, compassion, and inquiry, along with accountability and listening, forgiveness, respect, gratitude, direct communication, honesty, transparency, kindness, stewardship, and fun. Fun is in the leadership covenant. We make a promise to have fun being leaders. I'm involved in a huge covenanting process right now. A community that is very, very important to me, a religious community, is the Southeast Unitarian Universalist Summer Institute, SUSI, which gathers every year on the campus of a university, and for the last several years at Western Carolina University in Cullowhee, North Carolina. Although this year we'll be gathering on Zoom, like everybody else. A couple of years ago, I was approached by the Board of Trustees to work with the community around right relationship, because we're 1,100 people of all ages and all identities, and we were having trouble honoring one another, respecting one another, being kind to one another. Like with any large community, there were subcircles by age group or by interest or identity, various things, and that's fine. You need that when you have a large community. It's part of why we do covenant groups, so that we have smaller groups of people we make connections with. That's fine. But we were hearing from some of these groups that they were always experiencing challenges, or often experiencing challenges being in community. So the board asked, could I do something? I said, okay. So we started a process last year called SUSI Promises, and that's what a covenant is. They're sacred promises, and we asked people in the community to share their ideas, much like we did today, but a little different. The structure was, what does safety look like? What does trust look like? What does validation look like? Accountability, affirmation, reconciliation. We asked them to say, what does that look like? And that's sort of what we might do with a lot of the qualities that you've offered from your small group conversations, is what does it look like to make those qualities real? How do we actually create that kind of community? And I'm very proud that this congregation does this well. And there's always room to grow. And there's always new people coming in who have to learn how we live in covenant, how we live into those promises. So we got lots and lots of feedback, and I got lots of words about our SUSI covenant, and this summer we'll be having conversations to look at how do we finalize that and make it into something that everyone can agree with when they sign up to come to SUSI. One of the questions we asked was, what promises will you make? And I invite you to think about that for the community that you want, in whatever context that is. What promises will you make to create that community? We had lovely responses. The best one, the one that I keep on my desk and I read several times a week, promises I want to make to our SUSI community are: you are beloved, and I promise to treat you as beloved. I promise that I will own my impact as more important than my intentions. I will look at who is not at the table and seek to understand why, and draw the circle wider. I promise to be actively anti-oppressive in all that I do. I promise to be a lifelong learner. We need one another. We need one another. All these promises we make to create the community that we yearn for and long for and need, all these promises we make are the seeds that help us to grow a more compassionate community. Let us nurture those seeds in every interaction and create our model of the beloved community that we can share with the world. Blessed be. I invite you into a spirit of prayer and reflection and intention. As I offer, Guillermo Maduro and I offer this prayer for a pandemic by Cameron Baum. May we who are merely inconvenienced remember those whose lives are at stake.
Que nosotros, que simplemente enfrentamos inconvenientes, Recordemos a aquellos cuyas vidas están en riesgo.
May we who have no risk factors remember those most vulnerable.
Que nosotros, que no enfrentamos factores de riesgo, recordemos a los más vulnerables.
May we who have the luxury of working from home remember those who must choose between preserving their health or making their rent.
Que nosotros, que nos damos el lujo de trabajar desde nuestra casa, recordemos a aquellos que tienen que elegir entre preservar su salud y pagar la renta.
May we who have the flexibility to care for our children when their schools close remember those who have no options.
Que nosotros, que tenemos la flexibilidad de cuidar a nuestros hijos cuando sus escuelas cierran, recordemos a aquellos que no tienen opciones.
May we who have to cancel our trips remember those that have no safe place to go.
Que nosotros, que tenemos que cancelar nuestros viajes, recordemos a aquellos que no tienen un lugar seguro a dónde ir.
May we who are losing our margin money in the tumult of the economic market remember those who have no margin at all.
Que nosotros, que estamos perdiendo nuestro dinero marginal en el tumulto del mercado económico, recordemos a aquellos que no cuentan con ningún margen.
May we who settle in for a quarantine at home remember those who have no home.
Que nosotros, que tenemos que quedarnos en casa en una cuarentena, recordemos a quienes no tienen una casa donde ir.
As fear grips our country, let us choose love.
Cuando el miedo hace presa de nuestro país, elijamos el amor.
During this time when we cannot physically wrap our arms around each other, let us yet find ways to be the loving embrace of God to our neighbors.
En estos tiempos, cuando no podemos abrazarnos físicamente, encontremos formas de ser el abrazo amoroso de Dios para nuestros semejantes.
Amen. And we respond to this prayer with hymn number 123, Spirit of Life by Carolyn McDade, followed by the Spanish version, Fuente de Amor, translated by Lilia Cuervo and Urban Berrios. Please rise and bow to your spirit as we blend our voices as one. Our congregation is committed to creating a more compassionate world, and to this end, each quarter we split our plate collection with an organization selected by our Giveaway the Plate Committee. Our second quarter plate recipient is Rainbow Village, located in Duluth. Rainbow Village transforms the lives of homeless families with children by providing a stable community and services that instill initiative, self-development, and accountability for future generations. They provide self-sufficiency skills, adult life skills, child and youth programs, mental health services, early childhood development, and they offer an alumni program. Our plate contributions also support the shared ministry of this congregation, so I ask that you please give generously to support the work of this important and vital ministry in our wider community, as well as the vision and mission of our congregation. As we listen to a recording of Brian Bishop playing Fleagle the Regal Eagle by Don Reckman, you will see on the screen ways to contribute to our offering via PayPal, Venmo, or by mailing a check payable to the UUCG address shown. If you are worshiping with us for the first time, your presence here today is a great gift to this congregation, and you may choose to let the plate pass if you like. The offering will now be gratefully received. May the generous gifts received today move us towards realizing our vision of a more connected and compassionate world. I offer my gratitude to Bob Patrick and Guillermo Maduro for their parts in this service, also to Christiana McQueen for managing the Zoom room. She'll be off next week, and Justin Miller will be taking up that role next week. And I am grateful to Russ Taddeo for continuing to running our video and sound, and he doesn't get a day off, sorry. Now is the time for our call to connection. It is important that we continue to connect between Sundays. Excuse me. If you are new to our congregation, I encourage you to text welcoming to this number, 678-931-8228. You'll receive just a few texts and emails for a few weeks to guide you in connecting. They will not last forever, I promise. And I also offer here on this screen how to request and receive our weekly e-news, which tells about all the various activities that are going on. You can email to info@uucg.org to request to be put on that mailing list. It's a MailChimp mailing list. And we have a register for events button on the front page of our website, on the home page at the bottom of the screen, and please look for us on Facebook. Next Sunday, June 21st, we'll be offering our UU 101 Visitor Orientation and our UU 102 Path to Membership. So if you're new to the congregation and want to learn more about this faith and about our congregation specifically, please join UU 101. If you've already attended 101 and would like to learn more about the Path to Membership, please register for that program. And you can use the Register for Events link on our website, and the links for these events are on our calendar on the website. Links to all of our events are on the calendar unless otherwise specified. A few things to lift up. First of all, you all are amazing. We had a food collection for the Lawrenceville Cooperative Ministry last week, and you contributed 566 pounds of food. It was delivered to them on Tuesday. That was 2.5 of those grocery carts full. So thank you. And we are exploring ways to continue this ministry in a broader way. If you're looking for other ways to be of service, on June 27th and July 11th, we will have work days to help spruce up keep our property looking good and looking like somebody lives there, and having it ready for us when we return. So, and ready for all our new members when they come to see us for the first time. So please volunteer. We encourage you to register. We would like to limit this for social distancing purposes to about 10 people. So please register for one or both of these dates. That's on our website, register for events. And I want to thank Harry Felice for kind of taking the lead, Chuck Powell jumping in to assist, and Karen Smith for her assistance in planning the work that needs to be done. Just a reminder, we are still a drop-off place for masks, but the masks are, in addition to hospitals, making sure hospitals have what they need, they've also requested masks for area protesters. So we are contributing in this way. Thank you for that. And a reminder that GwinnettCares.org is the place to go if you want to know more about how to donate, provide snacks or meals, volunteer, or if you need support. There's lots of resources there. There are several opportunities to connect this week. I have a congregational check-in every Wednesday from noon to 1. This week I will be doing that. I will not be doing it the following week, and I'll mention that again next Sunday. Our annual Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly and our annual Unitarian Universalist Ministers Association are having their virtual events overlapping over a week and a half, and so it's messing with my schedule a little bit, but I'll be back after June 24th. Virtual happy hour is still taking place on Thursday evenings from 6 to 8. Please join that for just casual check-in. Yarns from the Heart is this Wednesday. If you're a knitter, sewer, crocheter, and want to hang out and chat with other people who do that, come and join them. And our fall covenant groups are going to be starting up, so please look at your calendar and plan to join a small group. They're limited to 10 people. We have 8 sessions starting in late August and running until early December. And these are fabulous ways to connect. We will certainly be starting them virtually. We don't yet know when we're going to be reopening our building. If a miracle happens, we may be able to start meeting in person late in the fall. But right now we're kind of planning for the rest of this year. Also, other ways to connect, just skim through our calendar and look and get the e-news so you can see what's going on. Read, click, go. We have some resources for people with families, children, and also just for your fidgeters like me who like to be doing something when they're listening to the service and have quiet activities. So there's resources there you can print and suggestions for materials to gather and activities you can do with those materials. So, and they're always related to our services and our monthly themes. So please do that. We'll also have resources available for parents to engage their children in their faith development and to learn more about Unitarian Universalism and our faith. Next Sunday at 10 a.m., Thomas Yoon will be leading his Dream Work workshop. So tune in for that. And on Sunday, June 28th, we're going to do something different. We will not be meeting for worship in this Zoom room. We're going to all go to Rhode Island together. Well, actually, no. We're all going to be taking part in the worship service, the Sunday service at the Unitarian Universalist Association General Assembly. We'll send out more information about this, but we'll ask everybody to watch from where they are and take part in it, and then come back together for time for connection with UUCG folks afterwards, and maybe reflect on that experience and how it was and what inspired you and what was cool. So we'll send out more information about that, but just a heads up to start planning June 28th, 10 o'clock worship with the rest of the Unitarian Universalists around the country. Actually, there'll be people from all over the world there, Unitarian Universalists. It will be amazing to see how many of us there are. So I'm looking forward to experiencing that with you. And now we rise in body or spirit to say together the words we say as we extinguish our chalice, followed by our closing song, Blue Boat Home, words by Peter Mayer, put to a classic tune by Roland Hugh Pritchard. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are indeed together again.
Lord, will call me, I fear.
Please continue physical distancing and staying home as much as possible. We believe in science and know that this virus is real. And now that we are even further open to allow groups of 50 or more with no physical distancing, we can most certainly expect a spike in incidence of this virus. So, and then the protests add to this too, which is good. We need to do that, but we know there are risks. You are each so precious. Please take good care of yourselves. Our service has ended, and now our service to one another and our vision begins.